How is it going, folks? Welcome back to Union Berlin and welcome back to part 2 of the transfer special. A transfer special that follows a very unanimously minded comment section on the last video. Lots of people think I should be going and signing Luca Netz, and I'll hold up my hands and admit it. Maybe I dismissed him a little bit early. Maybe you guys are right. Also, I will admit it, I say a few comments, literally every comment. Luca Netz, Alfie says. Luca Netz. If I just control F Netz, everyone wants me to sign Netz. I'm going to buy Netz today. Now, I will maintain that compared to Ryan Sessegnon, I do actually think Sessegnon is a slightly better player, but is he good enough to justify using the wildcard signing on and potentially spending a little bit more money on? That is a lot less clear. I feel like when you just look at the players head-to-head, Sessegnon maybe has the edge, but Netz has only just turned 22. It's worth remembering that because we're on a summer update database, all the players are a year older, and therefore there's a year less for younger players to develop versus the vanilla game. Netz is a player who I feel like has maybe been a victim of that. But at the same time, I can fully admit I've got this one wrong. And if I can pick him up for £9 million, in fact, you can see here, I already started negotiating with them. If I can pick him up for £10 million or £9.5 million, that would be a very, very good deal. And it's a deal that we can do. Now, of course, hopefully we are actually going to be able to sign him with a left back potentially identified. There's plenty more money to spend. There's plenty more areas of the team that need some TLC. And it does mean we've now got our wildcard signing again. Looking at things, still potentially £17 million in the bank. Let's go make a splash and add a little bit more quality to this team today. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Union Berlin and Building Berlin. Today is episode number 20. I've already done a little bit of an intro, but of course, this is one of the transfer specials, one of those videos that more people watch than all the other episodes. I don't know if that's because people just like watching the transfers. They like seeing me kind of reviewing players and what I'm looking for. If you are one of those people who comes back for these episodes, what is it about these episodes that keeps you engaged? I'm kind of curious to know. And of course, if you are one of those people who has a tendency to dip in and out of the content and you've not yet checked out the F1 Manager series, maybe give it a watch. If you've been, delaying it and putting it off in your subscriptions and stuff, Season 2 starts this week. Very excited for it. And the people who have been watching that series are loving it. And I know I said this a couple of weeks ago, the support on the channel has been mad lately. So if you've been watching that content or just enjoying this series, thank you. You're a legend. If you want to continue to support the content, like this video. If we could get to 3,000 likes, that would be cool. Usually these episodes get like 1,000 likes, 1,500, so I'm going to go big. 3,000 likes and I'll sign Netz, even though I might already be signing him. Okay, good news. Netz is very interested in negotiating terms. He wants to be a squad player, raising up to a more important player with time. I'm going to try and lock in just squad player because it does impact players' demands and their expectations. Another thing it does impact is my amount of money I can offer players based on this surplus wage budget. Because I've got the Sessegnon deal going through, I can't offer him what he's asking for without shifting some money around. So we'll shift it around here, remove the yearly wage rise, remove the Champions League release clause. No one wants that in his contract. And I'm going to be a bit cheeky here and ask for £40,000 to be the amount of money we're paying him. He wants £56,000. Bit of context here. Current highest earner is Netz on £67,000. Then Alex Scott on £50,000. I don't really want to go above 50 here if I can avoid it. I'll go back with 50 and hope he's going to accept that. And with that deal hopefully done, now I can consider cancelling the Sessegnon deal, but I feel like I should just leave it just in case. If someone else comes in for Netz and then the Sessegnon deal I cancel, I'm going to look like an idiot. It is worth noting there's a fair few first-team players here with a little bit of interest in them. I'm looking through these players thinking, is there anyone who I'd want to sell? I'm looking at Addons here thinking, maybe I could get some good money for Addons. He's 23 years old. He's not really developed as much as I would like. We picked him up for £2.1 million. Only played 6 games last year. With Netz, or potentially another fullback coming in, doesn't really matter who joins us, his game time is going to be limited. I'm going to attempt to move him on. I'm going to attempt to avoid us making a loss on him. There is also a couple of players like Llewellyn here who desperately want to leave the club. No one wants to buy him. I'll just offer him out again and hope someone's interested. One deal I did just sort out between episodes is a loaning out option for Philip Schulz. This guy, 20 years old, a player who won't get homegrown club status, but a player with bags of potential. St. Pauli in the division below us have made an offer to loan him for the year. I feel like regular first-team football in the Bundesliga too is what is needed. And well, hopefully, playing at this level, playing on the regular, we will see him continue to develop. I feel like this guy could be a really good centre-back option in years to come. Minor concern here. No one thinks an offer for Addons is viable. Llewellyn has failed to attract any interest whatsoever. This is a guy who, to be honest, I kind of just want to get rid of. So I'm going to offer him out for £0. We'll give him away. We're trying to sell him for the whole of last year. He just, I feel like, lacks the quality to play in our current team. Played 2 games last year, got a 6.5 rating. He's not good enough for the Bundesliga. Arian B wants a new contract as well. He thinks he should be an important player. Of course, he is moving down the pecking order this year. So with that in mind, I'm going to try and talk him out of this, well, desire. We can't afford it right now. If I don't give him a new contract, I'm gonna read about it in the press. I mean, right now he's on £16,000. His current deal expires in 3 years. Is it worth just giving him some more money? I'm gonna say that I'm gonna give him an offer. I'm hoping that when I now go to negotiate with him, his wage demands aren't gonna be unreasonable. I feel like for £30,000 a week, we could do a lot worse. My concern is he asks for more than that. And good news, he's not asking for more than it. He has got a few clauses that I don't like in his contract. If we could get him renewed on £25,000, I'd be a happy bunny. No yearly wage rise, though. He's not happy with that. Can we go with that? Okay, I feel like I made a reasonable offer there. He's respectfully disagreed. This isn't going to come back to blow up in my face, is it? Hopefully not. I say all of that. He's just sacked his agent. He has sacked his agent. He was that unhappy. Now can we re-enter negotiations? I think if I go forward a day, because he's just sacked his agent, I can make an offer for him. Let's try again. Arian B, look, mate, I want you to stick around. He wants to be an important player. Can we get the £25,000? Or am I going to just have to learn from my previous mistakes? £25,000. He's asked for 33. Look, mate, I'll give you 28.5. He asked for 29.5 last time, didn't he? You know what? I'll just give him what he wanted. At least now I don't have to pay an agent fee because he sacked his agent. If anything, 200 IQ. You might have noticed here as well, Max Collar leaving the club. Who is Max Collar, you ask? I was wondering the same thing. He is a product to value youth academy who, frankly, is rubbish. So I've decided to sell him for £2,000. Sorry, Max, it's nothing personal. Okay, interesting. Transfer offers for Florian Flick. Now, Florian Flick is an interesting player because whilst he's not immediately in our first team, he is a very, very good option for us to have. We picked him up for £1,700, which I think was an absolute bargain. We are blessed with a fair few defensive midfielder options. You know, Martel, I feel like, is a very similar player. Tom Krause as well, similar player. With that in mind, I'm not averse to selling him, particularly because he looks like he could be at his potential, but he is a very good squad player for us who currently has 2 years left on his current contract on a really good, cheap contract as well. Eintracht Frankfurt have offered £7.5 million. Valencia, apparently he has no interest in. I don't really like the look of that offer anyway. Eintracht Frankfurt, he's not completely flat out rejecting. My concern here is that Frankfurt are not going to be able to afford him. Last year they finished 11th. Their media prediction is 9th. So, yeah, I'm not sure he's going to want to join them. I'm going to counter offer here and ask for £10 million. They probably just can't afford this, but you know what? You don't get if you don't ask. I've asked for it. They've offered 8.5 million, which is around his value. But to be honest, I feel like we'd struggle to replace him. And whilst we have got some good young players who longer term might be able to fill in that area of the pitch, I do feel like what he offers us is rather unique. It's the kind of thing where if an offer of 15 million came in or £10 million, I'd probably take it, no questions asked. But the current offer just doesn't really help me. If he was to leave the club, I might cancel the loaning out of Philip Schulz. Schulz may just come in to fill Flick's position in the squad. You can kind of see here, Flick is like a babby version of Flick. You know what? I'm going to offer out Flick. I hope this isn't going to make him unhappy. We'll find out together. Apparently, he's not going to be unhappy about me offering him out. There is a bit of interest in him. Going to be cheeky. Might as well offer him out for a little bit more and see if anyone bids it. 12.5 million for a backup. That would be nice. We have also had an offer for Kofi Amoako here. Talked about this guy last episode. We picked him up for £1.6 million. Feel like we're going to struggle to get that kind of money back. This offer from Hoffenheim isn't particularly great. This is another guy who can play the same positions as Flick, but I do just feel like Schulz is just further up the pecking order at a very similar age. So with that in mind, selling Kofi here doesn't necessarily feel like the worst idea in the world. I'm going to offer him out for 2.5 million, add a 50% of any profit, just in case he does develop. We'll see if there's any interest there. And elsewhere, Leipzig have made an offer for Sonny Link. Sonny Link was a product of our youth academy and our youth intake last year. He's the guy who can play centre-back, but also right wing, and he's either-footed. I mean, apparently he has a load of potential. I'm not as convinced by it, to be honest. 5 determination. Apparently he could improve a lot. What did they offer? Okay, this offer is actually pathetic. We are going to reject that. Ryan Sessegnon set to join us. No, he's not. But I'm just going to hit the delay button, just in case anything happens with Netz. Although, good news, not had any inbox items yet telling me I've been outbid on him, which is... I feel like good to see. I'm just going to check here. Any more bids? No, we're the only team interested. I feel like this deal's going to get done. Felix Nemesha's unhappy, may want a new contract. His current contract has 3 years left on it. We've got this guy to negotiate with, Forston Will. Apparently have an unfriendly relationship with his agent, so this can only go well. Nemesha's asking for a new contract. We can't afford it right now. He doesn't want to take this further, so if we could come to some kind of agreement... I wish there was a way here I could ask him what his demands are, because I don't know what his demands are, which is, you know, you'd feel like, hey, I want a new contract. Before I promise him, yeah, we're going to give you a new deal, it should just tell you in that inbox item. Apparently, he wants wages between £89,000 and £115,000 a week. We all know what I'm thinking. I can't afford that. Things aren't handed out for free. I thought this would go differently. I'm going to have to let others know about my disappointment. I mean, you know what? It's just what I need at the start of July. Our top goal-scoring midfielder from last year, kicking up a stink. Good news, there's no one interested in him. Other good news, no release clause. On the flip side, with 3 years left, if a team came in and bid 40 million, I picked him up for £5 million last year. I might take them up on it. Didn't get any offers for Flick at £12.5 million. I'm going to offer him out for slightly less. We'll go 10.5, just see if there's anyone nibbling around. The other player who didn't pick up any interest is a Moako, who, what did we pay for him? 1.6. What about if I offer him out for 2 million? With a big profit of sell on. I want to believe that someone will bid that. We've had a few offers for him over the summer. It's just about getting one that's reasonable. Well, I've had some more offers for Kofi, but they're just not what I'm asking for. I want £2 million, lads. Only 25% of profit. They're offering 750k. I picked him up for 1.6 million. What if I just try and get the 1.6 million back plus 50% of any profit? Can we negotiate that? I'm realised not even negotiating that there. Let's try again. I know how to play this game. 1.6, 40% sell on. I just want to get my money back, which I don't think is unreasonable. Okay, Hoffenheim made a bid. It is a £100,000 loss, but with the percentage of profit sell on, I feel like it's still worth doing. We have a load of other defensive centre mid options. Truth be told, Kofi here, I feel like he's going to struggle to break into our first team, and there's just too many question marks over his potential. I think this is a thing that lots of the comment section wanted to see. Luca Netz, I'm signing him. If he's a complete bust, it's all on you lot. I'm signing him because of you lot, and because I do think I was maybe a tad quick to dismiss him. A player with loads of potential, 22 years old, German youth international. I think he's going to be a good left-back option. What it does also mean is that I can cancel the Sessegnon deal, and with one swoop of the continue button, the picture for the rest of the transfer window should become a little clearer. Netz is going to join us to play left-back. I've got a load of scout reports. Who am I scouting here? Who are these players? Oh, it's all the left-backs I was looking at. I mean, I don't need a left-back now, so this is just a big waste of time. Okay, I offered Flick out for £9.5 million. Frankfurt have now come in with a bid of 6.25. I want to hold firm. I want the 9.5. They've held firm as well. Can we come to like a middle ground that's not really a middle ground? 9.25 million. 9 million. Never mind. Minor squad issue. Quite a lot of players think that Felix deserves a new contract, and I agree he should have a new contract. I just don't think I can really afford to pay him £90,000 a week. Can I tell the players that he's asking for unreasonable things? I can. Most people are happy. Zach Hyen, who's the most influential of all these players, not happy. And Arian B, who's highly influential, is also disappointed. That was productive. I mean, most people agreed. So we've got half the squad on side. I will just have a chat with him. How much would he want? If I was to give him a new contract now, was the agent prediction accurate? I mean, that is... I'm just going to walk... I think I've just thrown up in my mouth a little just looking at what he wants. If the season started today, this would be our team. The one gap that I feel like our team has right now is a slightly more attacking, kind of natural wide winger player of sorts. I mean, the only option I'd have right now would be Brunner, who definitely isn't ready for first team football, or Llewellyn, who I'm literally trying to give away. So I feel like in terms of our wildcard signing, we're maybe looking at someone we can play in the wide areas, the kind of player who could potentially start out there on the regular. If Nemesha or Wiedrego was to get an injury, Alex Scott or Zach Hyen could move into the middle. We want that player who would go out and be plonked in those wider areas and maybe can push for a first team spot somewhere in the team. I feel like the one thing that we do have going for us with our team, especially in the final third, is just raw flexibility. We've got so many players who can play a load of positions across the front. So if we get a couple of injuries, we can move things around. The issue is if we were to have maybe 2 or 3 injuries to these 5 players who are in the starting 11, then I start to run out of backups to bring in to kind of fill in the gaps that they'd vacate as they move around to fill in for the injuries. So, yeah, wide player, the money we've got to spend is 14 million. I can maybe rejig some of this into the transfer budget, but even then, yeah, it's not going to be a crazy sum of money I have to buy this player. I'm probably going to be looking at someone who's transfer listed, I think. I suppose the other thing I could look at real quick is players who are, well, without a contract. Has anyone run down their contract and is worth signing? Someone like Kanya Fujimoto? I mean, Fujimoto is actually not that bad of a player. He was playing in Portugal. He got 10 goals and 9 assists last year. Am I going crazy or is he quite good? He's quite good. I actually don't think he's as good as I think he is. If we were a newly promoted Bundesliga team, he'd be amazing. But for us right now, probably not up to snuff. Joaquin Correa is 30 years old. He's the kind of player who could play out in the wide areas if needed. He's been playing for Inter the last couple of years, although he only played 5 games last season. He's not had any injury issues. Angers have currently made an offer for him. He's 30 years old, he's got great first touch, crazy pace, can play up top, can play in the wide areas. I am somewhat tempted. He wants to play as a trequartista. Well, that isn't happening, and I won't be improving the midfield. He wants to be an important player. What kind of money does he want? He wants £50,000 a week. Now, here's the issue. If I just cancel these negotiations, he's going to be really unhappy that I cancel them and then not talk to me anymore. So while we're here, I'm just going to try and get him to agree to some kind of contract. I'm not sure he's actually the wildcard signing that I'm looking for. But you know what? We might as well make an offer. We'll see what else is out there. That offer might get revoked kind of soon. I'm looking through the players that we've actually got scouted. None of them are crazy good. Someone like Van der Berg wouldn't be a bad signing if I needed defenders, but we don't need defenders. Let's just have a quick look at players sorted by reputation here. This is a load of players who are obviously players we've not necessarily scouted, but they've got big names in football. You know, we could sign Adam Lallana, aged 37. Not sure what we're looking for. I think I probably should just add an age limit of, I don't know, 29-year-old sorted by rep. Is there anyone exciting here? Bowser? You know what? The pun potential with this guy's name would be amazing, wouldn't it, with Bowser from Mario? But no. I've come to the conclusion looking through these players, this is probably not going to be the best use of my wildcard signing. Who's transfer listed? I've got things sorted by value here. Aronson, who we had on loan season 1, he's still available. There's a reason he's still available. Leeds want £28 million for him, which he's definitely not worth. Janelt is actually transfer listed at Brentford. He's a really good German player, but they want £60 million for him. And I think he's good, but he's very similar to Kraus. And I don't think I should be signing him for £60 million. It's rather steep, isn't it? Jacob Ramsey's transfer listed at Aston Villa. He's actually a really, really good player, but on £70,000 a week, I wouldn't be able to afford his wages anyway. And I kind of just wish he could already play in the wide areas. Then I'd actually consider him as an option because he is a good player, but yeah, he just doesn't really fit what we're looking for right now. Abu Kamara, Guernsey Hall of Famers available for £5.8 million. Doesn't seem like the most sensible use of my money, really. All I'm really learning going through all these players is basically there's not anyone who's particularly useful who's transfer listed, although hold the phone, Mohamed Daramy. This guy's an old school Football Manager wonder kid, and by old school I mean he was a wonder kid like 2 years ago. I mean, in real life, he joined Ajax for £10 million from FC Copenhagen. Last year for Ajax's B team, he got 9 goals in 22. He's 23 years old in this save game. He doesn't have very good technicals, but his physicals and mentals are actually quite good. And for £3.9 million, he can play kind of in the wide areas. He can cut in from both wings. He's quick. His finishing isn't great. I don't actually hate him as a signing option. As a squad player, he'd be amazing. It's just a question of, do you really want to be signing a squad player with your wildcard signing? And the answer is probably not. Having looked through the rest of the options that are popping up here, at least at the top, not wowed by any of them. If I sort by world reputation, is there anyone else who pops up? I mean, Amar here is not bad. I don't have £37 million though. And then Daramy is back at the top in terms of reputation. What about players who are 23 and younger with contracts expiring in a year? Is there any particularly good, exciting young players like a Cole Palmer? Cole Palmer is the kind of player I would be looking for, to be fair. 23 years old, running down his contract at Man City. He wants between £74,000 and £94,000 a week. It's quite a lot. We'll put him on the maybe pile. Of all these players with contracts expiring in the next year, he is the highest rated. The next one down is Kitolano, and below him, I've noticed a familiar friend to people who watch the Racing save game. Pablo Torre is available from Barcelona. Pablo Torre, good player, has not developed in this save game at all. They've massacred my boy. Look what they've done to him. Yeah, he's not great in this save game. Moritz Kaya. Is that just said AE? They've added a letter there. You can't just glue letters together. That's not how the language works. Maybe it's how Danish works. I don't speak Danish. Kjeidengard. I've definitely said that wrong. This guy's not bad. Bit of potential. Attacking midfielder. Can play out on the right. But he's 22. He has only just turned 22, though. I feel like with the budget that we've got, I'm not going to be able to buy the ready-made player with £14 million. So maybe it is just a case of taking a player who's maybe not quite ready. Someone like Oscar Bob here, fantastic name, from Man City, and just trying to make something of them. I feel like Oscar Bob maybe isn't the play, but fantastic name. Remember Rainier? I feel like that's how you say his name. He was so hyped up, wasn't he, back in the day? I remember when he went on loan to Dortmund back-to-back years. You can see he played a load for them in this save game. He's barely touched Real Madrid's squad, and it's a bit of a sad state of affairs. Again, he's the kind of player who I don't need to sign right now, but, and this might sound a bit weird to be thinking about this, but if Felix Nemecha left the club, he'd be a pretty good similar mould of player to come in to replace him. But of course, we're not going to sell him because we're going to be sensible, so we don't need to think like that yet. I just started sorting the players by value here, just to see what other players are at the top that we've not already scouted. Players like Charlie McNeil? No. How is this man worth £14 million? I know he's English in a post-Brexit economy, but come on now, Southampton. That is outrageous. I am beginning to think it could be a toss-up between Cole Palmer and Daramy in terms of the player that we bring in. Palmer is probably a little bit better right now, slightly younger as well, but is going to cost potentially 3 times more. And I do like the physicals on Daramy. I do like a physical merchant, but then Palmer's physical technicals are outrageous, and he's a little bit more versatile in the positions he can play. Fatawu is another player who's popped up here. He is a 21-year-old contracted to Atalanta. £2.3 million for him. Loads and loads of potential, but his current ability just isn't quite there. That said, seeing a guy like this is making me think maybe I should be looking at African players. They do tend to be a little bit cheaper, and I'm sure you've experienced this yourself. There's a load of really good African players, like Wunderkid kind of players, playing for like Nordsjælland and FC Copenhagen and those kind of squads. I'm wondering if any of those might fit the bill if I go look at those teams. Okay, first up, FC Copenhagen. Of course, if you've never looked at these teams yourself, you are definitely missing out. There are some pretty good players available in Scandinavia, not just the African players, to be fair, but even some of the Danish players, and especially wonder kids that come through at the likes of FC Copenhagen. They're ridiculously good. There's no one jumping out at me right now here. I know that Norgeland have a really, really good affiliate in Africa, if I remember correctly. Do they have the... Yeah, the RTD Academy in Ghana. They get some good players through this if you ever do a Norgeland save game. Have they got any particularly good players here? We've already scouted some of their players. Nagalo is their key man. He's available for £4.1 million as a release clause. If I was looking for a centre-back, he would be great. The next player down... Mohamed Diomande, this guy, wow, okay, he's quite good. In fact, he's so good that even though he doesn't enjoy important matches, I'm still somewhat tempted. Let's ask his agent, how much would it cost to get this deal done? 5.6 to £7 million. He'd want to start the majority of the matches. He can play at centre mid and in the wide areas and up top and is left-footed. Am I going crazy, or is this guy particularly good? Like, he looks way better than all the other players we've looked at. I'm now comparing him with Cole Palmer. I'm going to make a bid for Diomande. This feels sensible. I feel like I might have had this guy in my Southampton save that I did earlier on in the year. He looks familiar suddenly. Either way, let's make a bid. He doesn't have a release clause, unfortunately. I'm going to get rid of the sell-on and see how much they want. 7.75. Can we do like 6.5? How about just 6.75? 7 million? 7 million. I feel like 7 million is still an outrageously good deal. He's quality. I feel like I'm not going crazy here. He can play at centre mid. Could he replace Nemesha if we needed him to? Not that we're looking to sell Nemesha. Yeah, I mean, he lacks defensively, but he could definitely make up in other areas. I think I'm falling in love with this man. I feel like we should probably make a bid on him. And his agent is now drumming up interest in him. Of course he is. I can't wait for Chelsea to make a bid. Okay, our offer's been accepted. He only wants £16,000 to £24,000. He does want to play as a centre attacking mid. We don't play with that, mate. I'm sorry. Here's what he wants. He wants a release clause to come in the Champions League and this yearly wage rise, which I'm going to remove and exclude. I really want to offer him more money here. I'm going to offer him £35,000, but in order to sign him, I want him to have an optional 2-year extension in his contract. I'm hoping he's not going to get too angry at this. I just feel like this wage and this contract offers outrageous value for money. And to the point where I feel like it's almost worth offering him way more than what he wants to get him locked down longer term. I kind of want to push for 3 years, but I'm worried then his agent's going to get unhappy. No, I'll offer a bit more money in the sum. Is he happy with that? He wants a 4-year deal on 40,000. Can we do 5 years, 36,000? 5 years, 40,000. That is... Some people are going to say I've balls that up there. I feel like his agent's being very unreasonable. And I feel like an idiot. I know there's some people, and I'm looking at you out there, who would have saved during those negotiations and then loaded up the save game had what just happened happen. No, instead I get to upload it for 20,000 people to watch. I mean, I'll make another offer and see if he wants to talk to me again. I feel like we're going to be waiting now just a month to see if he wants to join us. And I'm just going to have to save the signing for him. Because I'm not going to find anyone better, am I? Arian B signed a new contract. That's nice. Follow up on the contract talk with Felix Nemesha. He wants 97... There's literally no point in discussing contracts with him. If I just wait to sign Diomande, is that going to be a problem? If I just, squirrel away £7 million and just treat my remaining transfer budget like £6 million, is that sensible? I feel like he's the player to pick up. Matoma looks like he's on his way to Ajax. Not that we were going to sign him, but that's a thing. And Wimmer has opted to join Red Bull Leipzig on £140,000 a week. That's mental. Diomande's not interested in restarting talks. I feel like I just have to mash continue for 2 weeks until he wants to talk to me again, As long as it doesn't turn into a Casado situation where we're making a bid for him 2 days before the season starts, I don't mind waiting. If he's going to be my wildcard signing for £7 million, that does leave me with around £6 million to go out there and sign our other type of wildcard signing from Switzerland, Austria, or Liechtenstein. The reason it's those 3 countries, by the way, is they are 3 countries outside of Germany where German is the native language. I know there's some other nations around Europe, like Belgium, where people do speak German there, but it's not the native language. That's why we have these free. I mean, I'm looking at the players listed here. Who would I sign out of all of this lot? And also, why is there a 15-year-old at the bottom of this list? Ivan Sindrich. I don't know why. I was expecting a lot more when I clicked on him. Daniel Rigamonti. He is playing for Benfica. Current ability, 2.5 stars. Potential 5 stars. He is part Swiss. He is very good. I don't think it'd be prudent to spend £12 million on him. Huskovic does still feel like a rather attractive option. We talked about this guy last episode. He has really bad important matches and consistency, but the actual player you're getting here does look very, very good. It's just his lack of flexibility, really, that puts me off him. He can't play a load of different positions. And also, if I sign him for £12 million, I can't afford Diomande then. Although, I could just save the wildcard signing until the winter transfer window and maybe pick up someone then. It's not like I have to use the transfers all now. Obviously, they don't carry forward to the next season, but in January, if it's still there, I can still use it. Another player who's popped up as an option is Yusuf Demir. He's playing for Galatasaray in this save game. They picked him up for £5 million. Of course, he was a crazy FM wonder kid, got loaned to Barcelona with an option to buy that they never exercised. He's left-footed. He could play as centre attacking mid or on the right-hand side. To be honest, though, he's just not very good anymore in Football Manager. In fact, I'm kind of flabbergasted at how meh he looks. He looks very, nothing special. Kameni was a player we looked at last episode. I do like the look of this guy, but I think £8 million is a bit too much. Again, he's another player who could be the Nemesha replacement if this Felix Nemesha deal situation kind of turns into a bigger deal than it is right now. I'm hoping we're not going to lose Felix, but I feel like it's probably sensible, given the fact he's unhappy and he's valued quite highly, to just consider who could we potentially bring in to replace him. Apparently Cole Palmer's very interested in talking to me. Sorry, Cole, I'm holding out for Diomande now, mate. Also, how many left backs did I scout? I'm just getting loads of scout reports about left backs I'm looking at. Yeah, none of these we're going to be signing now because we now have one. Templeman is considering options at the end of his contract. His current contract expires at the end of the year. This guy is very much the squad of all squad players. Last year, he did actually play 11 games for us, but they were all sub-appearances. Yeah, I feel like I could probably move him on. We signed him for 500k. Let's try and get £1 million for him. I don't really want to lose him at the end of the season for nothing, although it's not like he's a player we spent loads of money on. So if we were to lose him on a free, not really the end of the world. I still am annoyed with myself that I ballsed up the Diomande offer. I should have just given him the 4-year deal. But here we are. Also, Malassi has just moved for potentially £23 million. Let's have a quick look. Let's look at this guy compared to Luca Netz. Is Luca Netz worth, was it £10 million we played? Malassia is £26 million. I mean, he's definitely a better player, but Netz is younger, potential to grow, and crucially, not a wild card signing. You know what? The more I look at it, comment section, you guys might know what you're doing occasionally. Apparently, Mohamed Daramy, A+ signing. I mean, yeah, I think he would be a really good signing. Kiergaard as well. Staff like him a lot. A-, not quite as hot on him. I feel like these players are not bad options, especially for the prices. If I wasn't kind of restricting myself with my transfers, I'd probably sign both of them just to be squad options. I feel like I forgot to mention this. Sidi Sane, remember him? Broke his leg, kind of first season. Yeah, well, he broke his foot again last season for 3 months. This guy's had 2 major leg breaks in the last 2 years. I am definitely not getting the £1.5 million I paid for him back, so maybe I should just try and sell him on for whatever I can get for him. Las Palmas have made a bid for Llewellyn. They've offered me nothing. You know what? You can have him. I've been trying to get rid of him. No one else wants him. Philip Schulz is going to be on his way to St. Pauli. I am just going to delay this offer real quick because I am still half thinking about moving on Florian Flick if we were to get a sufficient bid. That Eintracht Frankfurt bid of £7 million or just shy of it is the best offer I've had. We'll offer him out for 8.3 or 8.5 real quick. If I get a bid of that, we'll sell him on. I'll keep Schulz around. Looking at things, though, we're not receiving a transfer bid. And to make things worse, Correa's decided to join Feyenoord. I mean, I was never going to sign this guy. Diomande's the man, but I'm still upset. Diomande, it's been like 2 days. Do you want to talk to me yet? I'm just going to call him every day. Every day I'm going to make a bid of £7 million. Every day we'll hope they will be accepted like the previous offer was. And maybe one day he'll pick up the phone. Maybe one day he'll want to talk to me. Maybe July 13th or 14th is going to be that day. I don't think it is going to be, but it could be. We have got a little bit of a bidding war going on for Kofi here. Can I get more money for him now? 2.1 million plus the 40% sell on. We may have a bidding war, folks. Also, Levante want Llewellyn. I just want to get rid of Llewellyn, so we'll just accept all these offers from Spain. It is lovely over in Spain, Jamie. You'll like it there. It's lovely. Minor bad news here. Loads of teams have made offers for Huskovic, including Wolfsburg and Bayer Leverkusen. If I sign him, I wouldn't be able to afford Diomande, but I don't want to miss out on signing him, so we'll make a bid, see if we can negotiate an actual contract that's reasonable. I have a sneaking suspicion, given the teams that have bid on him, though, he probably wouldn't choose to join us anyway. He wants 96 to 125,000 pounds. Let's just discuss this real quick. Okay, that wasn't an exaggeration. Never mind. Diomande still doesn't want to talk to us. I'll be back in a week. There are a few players like Roussillon, Templeman, these players who maybe I should just be trying to sell at all costs. We've got a rather bloated first team. Obviously, a lot of these players in the first team are youngsters as well, but I don't necessarily mind having them as backups. I've offered out Roussillon again. Templeman, I think we have to accept we're not going to get a decent sum of money for, but we'll offer him out, transfer listed. Anyone else that I want to try and move on here? Aiden, I want you gone too. Surely someone's going to bid on these players. They're the kind of lads who were great squad players a few years ago, but with where we are now, they're just not really good enough. And as we're strengthening the first team, the players are shuffling down the pecking order, and these older, kind of longer serving players, they're kind of just dropping off the bottom of the pecking order. I don't need them anymore. 5 players called up to the Olympics. Oh, this is what we're talking about. Up the pissing Olympics. Let's go. 5 of our players there. Hopefully Germany win gold. Yeah. Still bitter that we didn't have anyone get called up for the Euros, but here we are. If you're wondering about the Euros, England beat Germany in the final. Kai Havertz was top goal scorer of the whole competition. Yeah, in the final, who scored for England? Foden twice. Saka got an assist. They played a free at the back. That is disgusting. Oh God, Saudi Arabia might be back in for Hadel. Forgot about that. They've not contacted me in weeks. Apparently, Danny DaCosta wants a new contract. Danny, mate, look, you're 32. Your physicals were dropping off last season. You got a little bit of time left. We can be patient. Oh, I'll tell you what, I love this. I need more players like Danny. Players who, when they have concerns, I just go and give them a bit of my time and they tell me, you know what, Gaffer, nothing to worry about here. I wish Felix Lemesha was like this. I wish Templeman was like this too. Apparently he's worried the signing of Diomande is going to see him drop down the pecking order. Bad news, mate. You were already out of my plans before Diomande was going to be signed. I don't know why I'm offering him out for £5, but you know what? Will anyone bid £5 for Templeman? The answer appears to be no. I mean, if you're not getting a bid of £5 for you really have to question your value as a footballer. Okay, I did try offering out Kofi Amoko for a bit more money. No other teams came in for him, but £2.1 million, 40% of any future sale. I feel like this is pretty good for a player with very, very questionable potential, making our money back. If he does develop, money down the line potentially. Yeah, thank you, Kofi, for the money. You've served your purpose. There are a few clauses here that I can sell for players, but to be honest, they're all worth so little, it's just not really worth cashing in on any of them. Players in the last year of their contracts. Okay, potentially some players we should be getting on new deals. Forsby is one such player. I love Forsby. I definitely want Forsby on a new deal, but I need him to accept he's going to be a squad player. And immediately he's wanting to be an important first team player. I mean, he's 29 years old, model professional. He wants a lot of money here, but I would love to keep him around even just for mentoring purposes. I think he's pretty good for our hierarchy. He really wants a 2-year deal. You know what? I've learned from my previous mistakes. Have they changed the coding for how negotiations work in Football Manager, or have I got outrageously unlucky? Apparently the agent is awestruck by me. Well, that didn't serve me well here, did it? Am I bad at negotiating contracts? I feel like we've had 3 today where I feel like in any other Football Manager save that I've done this year, and in any other Football Manager, they would have just been fine with what I was offering. You know, we found a midway point, but today they just all hate me. Dortmund have made an offer for Martel. They've offered me £12 million, rising up to 19 million. He has no interest in joining Dortmund. You know what? Everyone like that. Even I like that. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't sell him for that kind of money anyway. He's worth so much more than that to us. Has only got 3 years left on his current deal. Would he be interested in talking new contracts? Maybe, but he would want £54,000 a week, which it's the kind of money where if you're a Champions League team, you can probably afford to offer that. We're not a Champions League team. And also, Templeman, who I've been desperately trying to get rid of, is now injured for the next 5 weeks. So he's not going anywhere except the B team. I'm just going to stick him in the B team and forget about him. No one wants Addons, so Addons might be sticking around as a backup for another year. Llewellyn has had another offer from Levante, which I feel like I already accepted. Did he turn down Levante? I guess he turned down Levante. They've come back. Maybe he'll go to them now. Elsewhere, Sonny Link is still really, really wanted by Leipzig. They've now offered this awful deal that's locked in. No deal. Also, daily reminder, always just praise your players in training who are doing well. It'll serve you well down the line, helps their morale stay up, helps build a relationship with them. Hopefully down the line, when all these players decide they want to be greedy and get big paydays, I can talk them out of it, because every week for the last 5 years, I've just been telling them they're training great, even when they've not been developing at all. It's been a week as well, Diomande. I'm coming for you again. That is the wrong Diomande. He's quite good, not the man I'm looking for. Make offer £7 million. Anyone else getting a sense of deja vu? Maybe just me. Felix Nemesha might be looking to move. He's gone to the press. Interesting. Also, his value's now dropped by £10 million. I'm going to offer him out for £40 million. I'm just curious to see if there's any interest there. And he's already unhappy at the club, so he's not going to get more unhappy that I'm trying to sell him, because clearly he wants out. Okay, no one wants him. Nothing to worry about. Elsewhere, Tottenham want to loan Adriano. I say loan. No, they want to take him on trial. No, absolutely not. Is Schulz going to St. Pauli? Can I delay it again? Are they going to get annoyed if I delay it again? I'm going to try delaying it again. I kind of want to sell Flick. If I can get an offer for Flick, I'll take it. £8 million for kind of a 4th choice centre-back, 5th choice centre defensive mid. Dortmund have offered £8 million, but they've actually made it negotiable. I'm going to be cheeky here. This hasn't backfired at any point elsewhere in this video. £10 million. 8 million. I got greedy, I'll admit it. They're back in the next day. 8.5. Just 8. Just 8 it is, Dortmund. Please come in. You've come in back-to-back days. Surely you come in a 3rd time. He's a very good player, is Flick. Imagine now if I don't get another bid for him. That would be awkward. Never mind. £8 million. You know what? He's good. I don't think he's £8 million good. Doesn't have the same potential as a lot of our other players. We have a load of competition in the defensive midfielder position. When it comes to centre-backs, obviously we've got Torunariga in the team and Martel as our starting centre-backs. Behind them, Arian B, I think, is a very good 3rd choice centre-back. And of course, we've also got Bissek at centre-back. So whilst Flick might be slightly better than these other options, I do feel like he's a player with a little bit less potential who, I mean, I can get £8 million for right now. I feel like it'd be stupid not to get that. If he leaves for £8 million, I suddenly have way more money, I realise, for all my other signings. And I can cancel the Schulz deal, because Schulz will just be that backup option 5th choice centre-back. Villarreal have signed Huskovic. He's on £99,000 a week. That is mad. Also, Llewellyn has had another offer from Levante. Why do Levante keep bidding for him, then withdrawing the bid, then bidding on him? This is the 3rd offer I've accepted from you, Levante. Stop pissing around. Mawsund here is an interesting player. He's actually got a bit of an injury at the moment. He's a good player for us, but I do have question marks over his actual development. I don't feel like he improved a lot in the last year. Whilst he might have a little bit of potential, we have got some very, very good centre-back options. We picked him up for 650k. I've just had an offer of £1 million from Hamburg with a 40% profit sell-on. I'm going to be a bit cheeky here. I feel like he's worth more than that. £4 million. Maybe I've got too cheeky, but I'd rather start high than slowly lower our demands. Let's see. I think £4 million for him, someone will probably bid. I'd like to think he's worth that. He's only 19 years old. Professional, or it was professional personality. It's actually now just resolute. But I digress. He's a good player, but he's not coming close to any of our current centre-backs. Also, Diomande still doesn't want to talk. I'll be back in another week. Felix Nemesha wants to discuss his current asking price. Do you, Nelson? What do you think is a fair price? I mean, it was set at £40 million. How about £45 million? He can handle that. So I've upped the asking price by £5 million and he's happy. I don't understand Football Manager's logic at times. Okay, finally the Levante saga is over. Llewellyn is leaving the building. Yeah, he's just not very good, is he? I feel like I've said everything there is to say about him. I hope he enjoys Spain. Everyone's favourite team from Spain are back again. Addons here, I've kind of accepted I'm not going to be able to sell on. I think largely down to his wages. £22,000 was a rather steep wage offering I gave him, and he's not playing regular first-team football for us. It's meant that there's not a lot of interest in him. With 2 years left on his contract, I think regular first-team football this year is probably our best bet to move him on. With that in mind, I feel like getting an offer here from Levante, where they pay all of his wages, he's a squad player for them, is probably the most sensible thing. Saves us some money, gives me a bit of wage budget to spend elsewhere, and hopefully gives him a platform to either shine enough for me to offer him a new contract or to, at the very least, cash in on him next summer. I've tried to sell Roussillon here. No one wants him on a permanent deal. I'm wondering if I can just loan him out for the year and save his wages. Probably less likely to get all of his wages covered, but we can dream. Canberra have made a bid. It's not all of his wages. It's a decent amount, but if I can't get a more significant portion of his wages covered, he might just be worth keeping around as an emergency backup option because, yeah, his physicals are awful. Yeah, he really doesn't have a lot to offer the first team, but he's a body at the end of the day, and in an injury crisis, bodies are needed. I am conscious of the fact that the Super Cup is in a few days' time, and I've still not signed anyone, and now I'm here making another sale. Flick, £8 million is gone. I feel like that's good money to receive. Is he a player we're going to miss? Maybe a little bit, but I think £8 million in our current situation for kind of a fourth choice centre-back is just kind of money we have to take. Apparently, Bright Arian B is unhappy that he had to go. Look, mate, it's going to be okay. Disappointed it felt necessary to sell one of our key players in Flick. I mean, bad news, was not one of our key players. Started 7 of 34 league games last year. I think Adriano is going to be able to step up. I'm going to try and convince him. Good. Okay. That feels like a really stupid interaction. You know, I play a lot of Football Manager. I give them the benefit of the doubt a lot. The fact that Arian B is unhappy that a player who started 7 games last year that he considers a key player is going feels stupid. That's the best word for it. Okay, £23 million in the bank. I've made an offer for Diomande. Probably still not going to want to talk to me, but I feel like I just, at this point, have to just keep making offers. Mostly because I'm paranoid that I'm not going to be able to sign him. And if I now don't sign him after I ballsed up in the negotiations, not sure I'm going to be able to live with myself, although maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day. Hold the phone, everyone. We're back negotiating. I'm going to learn from my past mistakes. Right, Diomande, 4-year deal. It's locked in my memory. 4-year deal, but we are having the optional 3-year extension in there, mate. I feel like that is fair for everyone. £35,000, 3-year optional extension. He wants 40,000. I feel like this wasn't a thing before. Why are you doing this now? 37. So simple. I should have just done this before. I think the player we're getting for £37,000 a week is really, really good. I know his important matches isn't the best, but he's super consistent, adaptable, can play a whole host of positions, will, you know, offer some competition to Zach Hyen in the wide area, but can also play at centre mid. One downside is he can't play on the right-hand side, which, as a player who's left-footed, maybe would have been useful in our system cutting inside, but we have Adriano, who I am training to play out on that right-hand side, and a player who I do want to give game time there too. So actually, it's not that much of a concern. So Diomande might be joining us for £7 million, £37,000 a week. That does still leave me with £15 million to sign German players or my kind of German-speaking wildcard player. And I'm now sat thinking, who of these players should I be signing? Who of these players did I maybe dismiss before who is now someone worth signing? I'm looking through all these players. To be honest, there is no one who stands out to me as a player that I want to sign, to the point where I might not even make a wildcard signing from these nations, at least in this window. If I was going to sign someone, Kamari would have been an option, but he's actually just got sprained knee ligaments out now and is out for up to 2 months. The only other player who I actually really considered was Iwu here, who isn't exactly what we need, but at 24 years old is a pretty good player who can play centre-back, can play right-back, but defensive depth isn't what I need. So, yeah, this feels like a waste. I'm going to look at German options and just see what's out there, I think. I talked last season about our big issue being impact subs who can come on and make a difference. Of course, we've got Demirovic, who we've signed. We've got Adriano, who I'm hoping is just going to get better and better and can become this creative spark of an impact sub. Of course, we also have Tillman, who at 23 is still continuing to develop, is still getting better. Between those 3 options and potentially Diomande, our attacking options on off the bench still do look better, but I do still feel like that's an area of the pitch where maybe there is still something left to find and add to the squad. There's a missing piece, or at least a piece that could maybe be stuck on the side and we could make work. So, yeah, German attacking midfielders, potentially the order of the day. Although for £15 million, is there going to be one who's particularly good out there? I throw that question out there, then I search German players who are most age 23, and a player jumps out immediately. Mohamed Damar here, right-footed player, centre attacking mid, can play on the left, can play on the right. Does look pretty good. He's only played 20 games for Hoffenheim's first team last year. Did get 3 goals in that time, so they've given him plenty of first-team football. He's available for £3.8 million. I'm not quite sure he's good enough. At first glance, I thought he was great. The more I'm looking at him, the more less certain I am that he's actually really the kind of player I'm looking for. You know, transfer specials really been going on a while when I've had to lower the standing desk. It's just getting too much for me. You know, the stress of finding players, the fact it's gone midnight and I'm having one of those late night sessions of Football Manager. The stress is here. The stress is real. Schulz here going to cancel this because we've sold Flick, so Schulz will have a bit more of a first team role this year. Not sure how often he'll be on the bench, but definitely someone we'll be calling upon, I think. I have to say, I am very, very surprised there is no one else in for Mohamed Diomande here. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's not as good as he looks, but on the face of it, he just looks like a top quality player. I've had some more offers for Adriano here. Leipzig have offered a deal potentially worth £10.75 million. I really don't want to sell him. I don't know if that's weird. I just feel like at 19 years old, he's potentially worth so much more than that. You know, we've got him on this long-term deal. It's 4 years left on it, plus an optional 3-year extension, £5,000 a week. Yeah, I don't think there's a need to sell him on right now. If I was to sell him on, I'd love to know, how much would you be entertaining for this guy? You know, he's developed a lot, 19 years old, a player who I want to give regular first-team football to, a player who I think has the potential to be a useful squad player this year. Just, yeah, not someone who I intend on selling really under any circumstances. Probably take a bid of, I don't know, 25, 30 million pounds. And even then, I might even doubt it because I think he has the potential to be a really good homegrown club player for us. Adriano is unhappy that I've not accepted that offer from Leipzig. I don't want to lose you. I've made my decision and you go nowhere. Get used to it. Concentrate on your football. Would a pay rise tempt you to stay? The answer, no. But he's staying anyway. You've got a 7-year deal, son. Don't know what you're crying about. Addons going to leave to go to Levante. I think that's a good little deal for us. At 23 years old, he's on way too much money. So saving a bit of wages is nice. And yeah, maybe we can sell him on next summer. Has just dawned on me, I've still got all these players away with the Olympics team until the 11th of August. You might be wondering, Jack, when's the Super Cup? It's on the 4th of August. So, yay. Half our team's going to be missing for that. The Olympics really is a pain in the butt in Football Manager. Not the first time it's absolutely shafted me in a save game. Max Morstead here is a player who's just popped up on my radar. 19 years old. Really, really tall striker. And when I say tall, I mean really, really tall striker. 18 jumping reach as well, 14 heading. He is available for £3.4 million. I'm very tempted to sign him. And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more tempted I am to go in for Damar as well. Whilst I do have some question marks over his current ability and potential, I do feel like he's a bit of an upgrade on the similar kind of players that we've already got at 21 years old. I kind of feel like he's just worth a little bit of a punt. If there's better options out there, I've not found them yet. We'll keep an eye open because I do feel like I do need a little bit more depth in the final third. But having lost Llewellyn on a free, we definitely do need a little bit more depth in this area. And Damar is without a doubt a better option to have there. Okay, good news. Mac Morstead wants to be a squad player, which is nice. I have managed to lower his playing demands as well to impact sub. Have just removed the sell-on clause and release clause he was asking for. But assuming I don't balls up the negotiations, we're going to get him offered to a deal, 5-year deal for the 19-year-old striker. Our offer for Damar has also been accepted. He also wants to be a squad player, which I can't give him. But impact sub, will he accept that? He will. And in terms of the actual contract offer, I'm going to offer him £16,000. Want to get rid of all of these percentage rises and sell-on clauses. And I shouldn't have got rid of them all. Do you know what? Today might be the worst day ever for contract negotiations. I might be the worst person at negotiating in Football Manager history. I mean, on the one hand, I'm upset not to get him, but equally, I wouldn't really want to sign him to a contract where after 10 games he's on £20,000 a week, because I'm not really sure he's worth that. I think there's probably some of you at home thinking, actually, the game's done you a favour there, Jack, because he's not that good. You might well be right. Also, the game's done me a favour here, because no one else has come in for Diomande. We're picking him up. £7.5 million. The RTD Academy, that affiliate team that I mentioned before, the Right to Dream Academy, they get a bit of a kickback as well. And yeah, I mean, this guy is quality. It's a long-term deal, and he's ours. That is our wildcard signing in the bank. A player who can improve in the future, is already a good player. I think he's going to really serve a good squad role for us this year and really, play a vital role in our first team. We'll start teaching him German, get Duolingo installed on his phone. And in terms of training, I am going to, I think, just train him to play out on the left-hand side as a winger. He is left-only footedness, but as a winger, I definitely think he could do a job there for us, as well as through the middle, potentially even up front. Felix Nemesha and Tillman unhappy with Adriano's treatment. Is that so? Is that so? I don't want to let good players go. I'm not going to win you over. It's fine. You know what? Tillman, I'm disappointed with. Felix already hates me. Me and Felix have got beef at this point. What was a beautiful relationship has been shattered over the last episode. I've made a discovery. Timothy Tillman. A Tillman who has a brother who already... He's not very good, but he is also a versatile wide attacking option. I'm not going to pretend he's as good as Demar is, but I've just seen the asking price. The asking price is too high. I can't spend £10 million on a bloke because he's a brother of another one of our players. I know it worked out last time. Timmy here, not as good a footballer as his brother. Today's transfer special is a weird episode. I have no idea how long I've been recording for. Well, I know how long I've been recording for. I don't know how long I've actually been talking for in the video. When I record these transfer specials, there's just periods of quiet where I don't say anything because nothing's happening and I'm just hitting continue. It has just dawned on me. It's almost 2 AM. I'm in peak Football Manager mode. It's Friday night as I sit and record this. The Premier League starts... Well, it started with the Man City-Burnley game earlier this evening as I sit and record things. Obviously, there's games again tonight. I'm just in a football-y mood. But I probably should be thinking about going to bed at some point, but I'm balls deep in Football Manager. I weighed up whether or not I should say that line, but I've said it now. I can't take it back. Well, I can edit out the video, but no, I am balls deep in Football Manager. I'm having a blast. Real Madrid have made an offer for Hadel. They've offered £21 million. Absolutely not. Not structured like that. Look, he is... I don't think I can replace Hadel with a better goalkeeper. I really feel like this guy is untouchable. The other offer I rejected whilst in autopilot mode, Martel. I mean, Martel's just not available either, is he? Let's be honest. German international, centre-back, 23 years old. Why would I ever let him go? Okay, Max Morstead here is going to join the club. I think he's going to be an interesting attacking option for us. A lanky forward. A little bit of potential about him as well. I'm hoping he's going to live up to that. Does need to work on his physicals in terms of his pace, for my liking at least. I feel like 13 acceleration, 12 pace. That needs to get up a little bit, but he is only 19. Loads of time to improve. Yeah, I think this is a good alternative striking option for us. We're kind of going from having no backup striking options last year to now, maybe I have too many. But it's better to have too many than too few. Don't mind me, I'm just admiring our bench. Bissek, very, very good backup centre-back option. Alongside him, we've got Da Costa, backup right-back option. Big fan of him. Been a regular member of our first team before. Arian B can be a kind of backup second-choice centre-back option on off the bench, or the left-back, which I think is where he'll fill in mostly for us this year. Forsby, quality centre defensive mid. Diomande, new addition, bit of an impact sub, someone who, if he performs really well, and perhaps once we get into the season, I will start starting on the regular as part of a bit of a rotation system. Not entirely sure who he'd come in for. The obvious spot would be someone like Wiedreago, but Wiedreago has developed so well. Don't really want it to drop him from the team either. I mean, the interesting thing would be if I got a bid for Felix Nemesha, because it might be difficult to say no, knowing that we've already got Diomande, who certainly can fill in for him. Obviously, Adriano, another good young attacking option. Demirovic can play striker, probably would more often than not play on the left-hand side for us, potentially on the right, although he's not really got that playmaking ability. Certainly would have to play a different role if he was to play there. Tillman, just a very good option who can play down the middle, can play in the wide areas. And well, the new addition now, Max Morstead, he's just the German Peter Crouch. That's a really, really lazy analysis, isn't it? But he's just really tall with some good technical ability like Peter Crouch. And I'm hoping when called upon, he could be a bit of a weapon for us on off the bench. That, of course, is ignoring the starting 11, which hasn't really changed much this year, but a couple of little new additions. Tarun Ariga at left centre-back, I think is going to be great for us. At left-back as well, Netz is coming into the team. Really liking the look of this starting 11 and the bench, to be honest. When I now look at the kind of remaining players in the squad, still maybe a few more players I'd like to move on, a few players who are perhaps surplus to requirements, but I do feel like we're nudging closer and closer towards a squad that I'm pretty happy with to start the season. I say all of that knowing as well, we've still got £12 million in the bank in terms of transfer budget, a little bit of excess wage budgets. There is room to maybe bring in a player or two more. Now, you might be sat there thinking, Jack, why are you saying all that like it's the end of the episode? The reason is because it's the end of the episode. Right now, I've not got any transfers going in or out. I'm going to have a little bit more of a hunt, but I don't think we're going to be adding any significant, super amazing first-team player unless one drops from the heavens. The Super Cup is only a few days away anyway, and it's 2 a.m. As much as I'm having fun playing Football Manager, the voice of reason is kicking in. I'm going to go to bed. Good news for editing, Jack. He's got the whole weekend to edit this video because I've decided spontaneously at midnight on Friday night to start recording the video. So you're welcome, editing, Jack. Of course, this episode is dropping on Monday. There is going to be 4 more episodes this week. You know the deal by now. Each and every day at weekdays. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the start of the season, where hopefully all our transfers are going to come together and click in a magical mess that results in Champions League football. If we miss out on Champions League football this year, I will be a bit annoyed. Tomorrow, season number 3 commences, and I hope you guys are ready for it. It's going to be a good time. Same time and place as always, midday, UK time, every single weekday. Your daily dose of Football Manager is going to be joining you for the rest of the week. I'll see you tomorrow for more. I'm out.